getting to a show. Getting to a show.
Hello and welcome to the preview show of the third ODI in South Africa with me, my friend Joydeep Mukherjee, one of my favorite analysts of the game. We'll go hard today. Joydeep, two down when you play a match like this. Obviously, no international match is a dead rubber. But how do you approach this? If you were the two Rahuls, Dravid and KL, what should be your approach?
Yeah, I'll start with KL first because I think we looked very flat on in the ground. That is something that he's new to the job. He's had a tough one in the test match that he captained and he lost. So he's probably thinking, what have I done wrong? Why can't I win a game? Everything seems to be going perfect before this. But once I've taken over, things are not falling in place. And the reasons for that is what is to be addressed. Firstly, I think Rahul Dravid has to be given a bit more time. He's just come in. A lot has happened since he's come in. So he's taking in a lot. But having said that, I was surprised with the team that we played, having played, 5 batters only besides Pant with no Jadeja. That's a big surprise for me. Our bowling has looked very, very innocuous, has no teeth at all. I don't know why we rest bowlers like Shami on away tours. We can rest them on home tours where the conditions are slightly in our favor. This is a tough tour. This is we never expected it to be, but it's become a very tough tour. And after the test series, maybe we should have just kept back the Shami, the likes. No resting these bowlers in such tough tours. You're losing series. What are you resting them for? There is nothing for the next couple of years as far as 50 overs is concerned. With the batting, I think 4, 5, and 6, as good as they are, they can get 25 ball, 45 in T20 cricket and win you the game. I love those guys. But to be able to bat 140 balls and get 125 runs, to milk it, do they have that as yet? That's what is to be seen, which is why I thought the batting in the middle, the bowling overall, how docile has Ashwin looked, Chahal looked good in the other game compared to Aiden Markram's bowling, compared to Keshav Maharaj's bowling, compared to Shamshi's bowling. So I've been baffled by how poorly we've played this one-day series so far.
Several questions have already been raised by Joydeep there. Ashwin, clearly some of the bowlers. Obviously, we will talk about Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. Has he come to the end of his stint with India? Because even in the World T20, he looked extremely flat. There's a Chahar and obviously a Mohammad Siraj waiting in the wings. But our man at the ground, he's there. Anand Vasu, the only Indian journalist covering this particular tour in South Africa. He sent us his ground report from the ground ahead of the third ODI at Newlands. Here's Anand Vasu for you.
It's the final match day of India's tour of South Africa, and here we are at beautiful sunny Newlands for the final one-day match of this series. The one-day series has been lost, of course, with South Africa sealing it 2-0 at Boland Park in Paarl. But there's plenty to play for this Indian team. KL Rahul has just taken charge of the captaincy and is finding his feet in what is quite difficult waters. He will make this team his own in due course. For the moment, a good chance to try out some different options, perhaps to give some players a chance to show what they are capable of. But over and above that, this is a chance for India to show that while they have been beaten by a good South African team, they are still competitive, they still have all that it takes to win in this country. They would not like to go out on a 3-0 result, so plenty to play for India, even if the series has been sealed already. The pitch is a belter. It looks like one that will be full of runs, perhaps more so than in Boland Park in Paarl. Sunny skies, cloudless, absolutely perfect for a game of cricket. All that's left now is for India to try and finish their tour on a winning note.
so there's Anand Basu reporting from the Newlands. News from the center, India has won the toss and is elected to field. So India has won the toss and elected to field. Last match, India won the toss, elected to bat. Today, it's a different call. Joydeep, your thoughts on that? Electing to field first?
Yeah, two things. One is that probably give the bowlers a little more freedom. Okay, come and bowl without any pressure. And secondly, maybe give the batters a target in mind so that we've not been able to bat 50 overs. We had Shardul Thakur batting in the 37th over, Ashwin batting in the 41st over. So you don't want to see as good as these two guys are. You don't want to see a number 7 and number 8 batting in the 37th over. Obviously, something in the beginning is not being right. Having said that, it is to be seen where is there some moisture in the pitch or not. If there is, then it's worth it. Fielding first, getting whatever advantage you can get. But overall, what will be good to see is the mindset that India plays with. I thought they looked very timid. They looked very much in a corner, which is not something that you can associate the Indian team with. In Virat Kohli's captaincy, it's come out, all guns blazing. Whether you win, you lose, you're down, you're up. The body language has been great. Virat is a different personality. KL is a different personality. And the personality was evident in the way the proceedings went.
The other thing, Radeep, I tweeted also, I think India is playing a brand of ODI cricket which is 4 years back. I mean, if you see some of the other teams, they've moved ahead in ODI white ball cricket. And if you see our approach to ODI 50 over cricket, it's still about 3-4 years back. And that is not great to see as far as the Indian team is concerned. Okay, let me head gear straight. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. We've seen Bhuvaneshwar Kumar being one of the greatest servants of Indian cricket in the last decade. But every good thing has to come to an end. Look at him in the World T20. Look at him in this particular series. You have a Chahar, you have a Mohammad Siraj waiting in the wings. You've given Bhuvaneshwar Kumar enough opportunities, like with Rahane and Pujara. Your thoughts on Bhuvaneshwar Kumar going forward? And should Rahul Dravid now take these hard calls?
Yeah, I think it's good to always try out who you have in your squad because Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, I even saw him before this story. He was playing the Vijay Hazare final in Jaipur, and because of the conditions, he looked really good. He bowled really well over there. It was Jaipur in the month of December, where he's still very crafty with the ball. But in such benign conditions, where there's not much seam, not much swing, his pace was really down, which was the worrying bit. No matter how good you are as an international bowler, you still need pace. If you are a frontline fast bowler, you cannot be less than 130, 132. That's the bare minimum you can hit. And he was in the low 120s, mid 120s, spell-wise. And it doesn't matter if you bowl one ball at 132 and then you bowl the rest at 125. It doesn't do the job for you. You have to live within 130, 135. The best bowlers in the world live within 135 and 145. They don't bowl every ball 145 because you cannot. But you're 141, 137, 142. But you can pep it up anytime you want. So when the pace is low with no swing, no seam, then Bhuvaneshwar Kumar might not be the guy for you.
Virat Kohli, the journey. I mean, I used sort of first match he looked good for the 50. Did not carry on. I mean, this whole obsession about the 71st 100 notwithstanding, we want him to play match-winning innings, not hundreds, but match-winning innings, important innings from India's standpoint. And yes, while we're talking Rahane and Pujara in Test cricket, Virat also has an average of 27. We can't run away from the fact that he hasn't scored. And Virat Kohli is so important from the Indian standpoint. He has to score. Your thoughts on Virat, the batsman?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot going on in his mind, and no matter how mature you are and how how much in control of things you are, these things do play at the back of your mind. It's happened to many big players before. It's bound to happen later on as well. It's how he handles it. For me, it's not the worry, like you rightly said. It's not the 71st 100. It's winning matches for India. Even that might be a 70 not out. Or anything that he does on a cricket field. See, there is no two opinions. I mean, he is an absolute legend of the game, and I think he will finish as one of the greatest that ever played the game. He'll have the numbers that will back that. But what's important is, this change that's going on, the captaincy, whatever went on, and now there's a new coach, and his rapport with the coach, and playing under a new captain, and playing in conditions where the team around you is not playing well. That's another thing. When you play well and the team around you is there to back it up, it's one thing. But when you're the only one, kudos to somebody like a Sunil Gavaskar who probably had only a good number Vishwanath, only a Mohinder Ramannath for for a while and just went on series after series. But now Virat is feeling the heat because there are people around him who are not scoring in test matches. There are people around him in one-day cricket. We are 1, 2, 3. We are top heavy, and then 3, 4, 5. As good as they are, Rishabh is an outstanding player. There's no two opinions about that as well. But there is an issue with dependability with him. He's still not a finished product yet. He's not going to do it 7 times out of 10 times. He'll play innings in between which are baffling, which are mind-boggling, which will mesmerize you. But as far as the consistency is concerned, same with Iyer, same with Venkatesh. If he's not bowling, why is he playing? Why isn't Surya, who's been around, older, 30, 31, been around, played a lot of India A, played a lot of Vijay Hazare, played a lot of India A games in 50-over cricket. He knows, he's done it more often. So in these sort of circumstances, with 4, 5, and 6 being so inexperienced, 7 being Shardul, 8 being Ashwin, you're looking very thin in the middle.
That is also the point. I mean, if you see the Indian batters and you see South Africa were 3 down and they converted from there and took it to a 300 score. India, on the other hand, 180 for 2 and you collapse. So clearly that middle order is the difference, right? So that, and we've got to solve this middle order puzzle ahead of this is the rebuilding point. I mean, next year is the 50-over World Cup on home soil. So you've got to get to that stage and you have to start as soon as possible. Okay, KL Rahul. I mean, captain, he has looked timid is the word you used. Gautam Gambhir on commentary mentioned a number of points as well. What are the things you want to see KL do differently? No questioning his talent, but he's got to obviously captain differently. What are the things you want KL Rahul to do different?
I want KL Rahul to play freely in white ball cricket because that's what he's known for. That's what he's really good at. Whether it's T20, 50 overs, how can Aiden Markram bowl 8 overs for 34 to KL Rahul in the power play? I just can't fathom that. And the fact that I think he's feeling the heat, feeling the extra responsibility, feels that he got about 40 overs. He knows all this we've spoken about. He knows 4, 5, 6 being inexperienced. He knows the fact that 7 and 8, there's no Jadeja. And like you rightly said, you made a very good point. You said that, the teams that play 50-over cricket in today's day and age approach it differently. But look at the batting. Look at the depth. Look at people. You look at Australia. Look at the guys who come in at 6, 7, 8. So you can go and play hammer and tongs. You look at England, who's had a lot of success in white ball cricket. Look at the guys who play 5, 6, 7, 8 for them. Compared to that, we are not that strong. So we have to now play second fiddle. Hopefully the people on top, one of them bat 40, 45 overs. The other 2 bat about 30 overs. And then hopefully we are praying that 4, 5, 6 will be there in 45, 46. But that's not happening, clearly.
That has been the Indian strategy, Joydeep, for a year, some years now, that your 1, 2, 3 oftentimes rescue the middle order, whether it is in the 19 World Cup, whether it is subsequently, Virat gets 100, Rohit gets 100, Shikhar gets 100, and you're okay. But the moment the top 3 don't score, automatically 4, 5, 6, and you're like, what's happening here? Again, we are missing Rohit, because if you see away from home, in Sena countries, in difficult conditions, the way Rohit has batted in 50-over cricket, I think the 2 people India has missed big time. One is Rohit Sharma and 2 is Ravindra Jadeja. Your thoughts?
Spot on. You're taking the words out of my mouth. What Rohit does is, firstly, he plays innings where 4, 5, and 6 don't have that much of a responsibility. A. B. He also guides the others. He bats with people. See, what is also happening is 1, 2, 3 gets out. Now with Rishabh, Shreyas, and Venkatesh, they're all new. They're brilliant cricketers, but they're short on experience. So they're not in a right position to give each other advice on what to do. But if there's a Rohit Sharma batting with them, a Shikhar batting with them, a Virat batting with them, they will tell them exactly. Dhoni used to be a master at this. So he'll say, okay, we need 5 and over. This next 3 overs, we are going at 4. Then they'll probably get this guy, they will attack him. If we get runs, again, so there's a plan in place. That plan seems to be missing. They're just going by, we'll take it as it comes. And then one dismissal leads to another. And the pressure is being felt because, go on.
Very good point, because I remember Dhoni telling me that even in that World Cup, New Zealand match, in that World Cup semi-final, he said, I was batting for myself and Jadeja. I was batting for both. I was calibrating for us both. I was guiding Jadeja that this is how you require. I was, my peripheral vision was telling me 5 overs down the line, this is where we need to get to. That is someone India is lacking now in the middle order. And that's someone or something we have to rectify going forward. Last few minutes of the show, Jaydeep.
And he's guiding a Jadeja. He's guiding a Jadeja. who's
already
so
old, 100
experienced.
matches old.
So who is guiding these guys?
So what is your solution then? I mean, what does Rahul Dravid? Because obviously everybody wants a quick fix in India. In Indian cricket, the biggest word is restlessness. We cannot lose the series, we'll be restless. You cannot lose a match, we will say, oh, all hell is broken loose. Clearly, Rahul Dravid will need a bit of time. I mean, everybody thought he'll come with a magic wand. Doesn't happen with anybody. But what does Rahul Dravid do now? Because he's got West Indies and Sri Lanka at home. He's got to recalibrate. So if you were in his position, what would you do now being Rahul Dravid?
See, I will try some players here, but if I was just me, if I wasn't Rahul Dravid, and I know this is not going to happen, I would have Virat bat at 4 in this tournament, in this team, and have an Ishan Kishan at 3. Okay, and take and get Venkatesh out if he's not. He came into bowling with 160 for 1, so he's not your frontline bowler. If you're getting a guy to bowl at 160, he's obviously not your frontline bowler. He would have come to bowl at 70 for no loss, 100 for 1 if that was the case. So I wanted Virat to bat at 4 so that he can add more stability. I remember in 2003 when we won the NatWest, Sachin Tendulkar batted at number 4. If you remember, you were there. Yeah. So that's what he. Now I'm sure this is not something that he loved, but he did it for the team because they wanted somebody in those conditions to bat at 4 and bat. And that team had a Dravid, that team had a Yuvraj. Okay. In spite of that, he batted at 4. Because Saurav wanted the batting to be beefy and with a couple of big guys in the middle. Right now, all our big guys at the top. So ideally, Virat should bat at 4, Ishan Kishan at 3, then 5 is Pant and 6 is Iyer. Or 5 Iyer, 6 Pant, whatever.
Word on Bumrah, among all of these problems, one fellow who's sort of stood tall is Jasprit Bumrah. No support. I'm asking you this question because today was his debut day, 6 years earlier. Stephen Smith, his first wicket in Australia. Look at where that man has come. People doubted his body, doubted his action, but Jasprit Bumrah, unbelievable class.
Absolutely. It's what comes out of your hand as a bowler. It doesn't matter. All this run up and action and load and release and everything you work on is so that product that comes out the ball. Boria, it's the ball that starts the game. It's the bowler that hurls the ball and then the batsman reacts to it. So it's the bowler who actually, gets the game going. So here, Bumrah has been phenomenal. And I've seen a little bit of Bumrah in domestic cricket before he played for India. So I knew what was coming up. But as he can't do anything alone. You bowl as a unit. So he can bowl 10-40 and the batters will be saying, let's take it easy with these guys. We've got enough pies coming up later. So, but if you've got consistency in all of them, now everybody cannot be Bumrah, but everybody bowls to their best. We have played at about 50-60% of our potential, if not below that. Okay, which is why we are looking so far behind in every department. I didn't mark bowling to Indian batsmen at 8 overs 34. Could you have ever imagined that? I didn't even know he bowled for the series.
I absolutely agree. India has looked pedestrian and timid. I mean, they've looked thoughtless. Yeah. Imagination has been lacking, but that's what is in the past. Every game is a new game. You need to calibrate and come back. So, Joydeep, final question. Yes, you're 2 down. Yes, you've lost the test series, but every day is a new day. Can you come back? Your thoughts and India's approach today. They've won the toss. They've elected to chase. But your thoughts, can India make it count the last day of this particular tour?
Absolutely, I think so. I think this Indian team, if they play at about 100%, no team in the world can beat them. If they play at 80-85%, they will beat this team. But it's a question of which Indian team shows up. And what I would like to see is intent. Okay, we've lost this series. So in a way, in a bad way, the pressure is off. Okay, so it's not about the series. But sometimes, backs to the wall, you fight back. And that's what I'm looking to see from India today.
Yeah, and so I will close with the word pride. I mean, it's often used, but oftentimes we don't really conceive the real importance of that particular word, pride. You're playing for India, for God's sake. Blue, men in blue. So go ahead and do the job. Joydeep and I will be back. We will both be back end of the match, analyzing what happened in this particular match. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we will be talking about an Indian win. Thank you very much, Joydeep. Thank you for joining me. Back with you.
Pleasure.
End of the match, 9:30 tonight. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Look forward.